Last week, we talked about the new era of selling, why hustle, pressure, and being louder are no longer what moves people to buy, and why emotional intelligence has become the most important sales skill moving forward. Today, I want to make that real for you, because if you've ever thought to yourself, people like my content, but they're not buying, or they're interested, but they're not taking action, this episode will explain exactly why. It's not that your offer isn't good. It's not that your pricing is wrong. And it's not that you need a more aggressive sales page. It's that interest alone does not create action. In this episode, I'm going to show you what actually has to happen inside a buyer before they're willing to move forward, and why a trust funnel converts more than a sales page ever could. You're listening to the From Scratch podcast, the podcast for bold entrepreneurs who are done with cookie cutter advice, done with burnout, and done with building businesses that don't actually feel good. I'm your host, Kary, a near $1 million course creator, brand strategist, and business coach for women who are ready to do it differently. 7 years ago, I hit a level of success and still ended up crying on the bathroom floor. So trust me when I say starting from scratch isn't about starting over. It's about taking your power back and rebuilding on your own terms. Every week, you'll get unfiltered stories, bold strategies, and the mindset shifts you need to build with soul, sell with strategy, and grow something that feels like you. So let's get into it. Most people believe that selling happens on a sales page. They think that if they just explain the offer clearly enough, list the benefits, add testimonials, and create urgency, people will buy. But here's what I've learned after years of building, testing, and refining sales systems. Sales pages don't create decisions, they confirm them. By the time someone is ready to buy, the real decision has already been made internally. And if that internal decision hasn't happened yet, no amount of urgency or persuasion will force it. And that's where most funnels break. So let's get very clear about what we mean when we talk about funnels. A funnel is not a piece of tech. It's not just a landing page or an email sequence. A funnel is the experience someone has with you over time. It starts with how they discover you, your Instagram posts, your podcast episodes, your YouTube videos. It continues with how they get to know you, your messaging, your emails, your stories, the way you talk about problems and solutions. And it ends with how they decide whether to work with you or not. Your sales page, your workshop, your application or checkout. And a trust funnel is simply a funnel designed to help someone become ready to buy, emotionally, mentally, and practically, before you ever ask them to. Every piece of content, every message, every email is designed to do one thing: reduce resistance and build confidence. Not just confidence in you, but confidence in themselves. The reason it converts better is because it aligns with how people actually make decisions. A few years ago, I started following someone online, not because I needed anything from them, but because their content kept showing up and quietly making sense. Short videos, thoughtful explanations, stories that made me stop scrolling because they articulated things I had never put words to before. In short, I liked them. At first, I didn't even notice how often I was consuming their content. It just became familiar, comforting, reliable. Then I started listening to their podcasts while I was driving. Then I subscribed to their emails. None of it felt pushy. Nothing was trying to sell me anything yet. It was just helpful, clear, steady. By the time they finally mentioned an offer weeks later, I didn't need convincing. I already trusted how they thought. I trusted how they explained things. I trusted the way they showed up consistently without pressure. I didn't click because of their offer details. I clicked because the relationship already existed. That's a trust funnel. Not a single moment of persuasion, but a sequence of experiences that made the decision feel obvious. And this is what most people miss when they think about funnels. They assume trust is created at the point of sale, but trust is built long before someone ever sees a checkout page. It's built through repetition, through consistency, through messaging that meets someone where they are instead of rushing them forward. So now I want to break down the 3 internal shifts every buyer has to move through before they take action, and how your content, emails, and messaging either support that journey or interrupt it. Because once you understand this, you'll stop trying to make your sales page do all the work, and you'll start designing an experience, a trust funnel that earns the yes long before you ever ask for it. The first internal shift a buyer must experience is recognition. This is the moment someone thinks, this person understands my situation. This feels relevant to my life, not just my goals. Recognition happens through content, not offers. Your social posts, podcasts, episodes, and videos are not there to sell. They are there to help someone recognize themselves in your message. When recognition is missing, people may follow you, admire you, or even consume your content, but they won't buy because buying requires identification, not inspiration. In my own business, I saw this shift when I stopped speaking broadly to just entrepreneurs and started speaking directly to the lived experience of someone who wanted growth without pressure. I talked about exhaustion, overcomplication, and the desire for something sustainable. People stayed longer. They listened more deeply. They didn't just like the content, they felt seen by it. Recognition tells a buyer, I belong here. So here's your move. Look at your recent content and ask, does this help someone recognize themselves or just recognize my expertise? Create one piece of content this week that describes your audience's experience so clearly they feel personally spoken to. However, recognition alone does not lead to buying. The second internal shift is readiness. Readiness is the moment someone thinks, I want this and I feel capable of doing this. This is where many funnels fall apart. People believe you, they like you, they trust your experience, but internally they're still asking, do I have the time for this? What if I fail? What if this becomes another thing I don't finish? Readiness is built through nurture, especially emails and long form content. In my own business, I noticed conversions improved when emails addressed hesitation directly. I talked about time, energy, and what people didn't need to do to succeed. I slowed the conversation down instead of speeding it up. People arrived at the offer calmer, not anxious, more confident, not overwhelmed. Readiness is not about convincing someone they need you. It's about helping them trust themselves. So here's your move. Review your emails or nurture content. Ask yourself, am I helping someone feel capable or just persuading them? Add one message that normalizes hesitation and speaks to fears about time, energy, or self-doubt. The final internal shift is resolution. Resolution is the moment someone decides, this feels aligned, responsible, and right for me. This is where sales pages, workshops, and offers come in, but not as pressure tools. Resolution is created by continuity. When the sales page sounds like the content they've already consumed. When the offer feels like the next natural step, not a leap. When the tone doesn't suddenly shift into hype or urgency. In my own business, sales pages converted better when they felt like a continuation of the conversation. Same language, same values, same emphasis on sustainability and support. Resolution happens when nothing feels out of character. So here's your move. Read your sales page out loud and ask, does this sound like me everywhere else? If it feels different, rewrite one section to sound like a continuation, not a pitch. Look, people don't buy when they're interested. They buy when they recognize themselves, feel ready, and resolve the decision internally. A trust funnel exists to support those shifts. Sales pages explain, trust funnels prepare, and preparation is what turns interest into action. Next week, we're going to talk about what happens when trust exists but momentum stalls, and how to design systems that gently carry people forward instead of leaving them stuck at almost. If this episode stirred something in you, if you can feel the old way of selling no longer fits, and you know you're ready to build something calmer, smarter, sustainable, and more profitable, I want you to know what's coming next. Next month, I'm opening the doors to my Sales from Scratch Spring cohort. For 3 months, we'll work together to build your 6-figure evergreen sales funnel from the ground up. Not a patchwork system, not another half-finished funnel, a complete, soul-aligned sales engine that works even when you're offline. Inside the cohort, you'll get live coaching and support with me so you're never building alone. Done for you emails, websites, templates so you're not starting from scratch. Clear strategy for your messaging, offers, funnel flow, automation, and the structure to actually implement, not just learn. This is for coaches, course creators, and service providers who are done chasing launches, done relying on hustle, and ready to build a system that supports their life instead of consuming it. Doors open next month, and spots will be limited. If you want to be the first to know when enrollment opens and get early access details, go to the link in the description and join the waitlist now. This is where soulful selling becomes scalable, and where your sales finally stop depending on you being on all the time. Let's do this together.